After motivating predictions received in the last episode in Greek Thessaloniki, the road led to a country over which the Greeks have openly joked. The people of Slovakia, who had just joined the Eurozone in 2009, just before the Greek crisis, now had equally with the wealthy countries of the Eurozone to bail out wealthier member Greece. Bratislava has completed a number of EU home tasks, including joining anti-laundering directives. In particular, this was also manifested in the change in the rules for declaring the final beneficiary. This is what brought me to Košice.
Bratislava!
Mother of God, we are in Bratislava. A lot has changed in Slovakia since the movie Euro Tour. The country has joined the wealthy countries of Western Europe, has attracted influential international production companies, and the prices for dinner in restaurants in Košice or Bratislava only occasionally remind you that you are still in Eastern Europe. Perhaps many will pay attention to the ugly Soviet-style buildings of residential areas, but the country has made a significant step forward since joining the EU in 2004, however, leaving many habits from the past. Slovakia today is the only market in Eastern Europe that is a part of Eurozone. Despite the threats posed by cheap capital and the outrage of the Slovaks about the crisis in the Eurozone because of Greece, since 2009, when the country joined the Eurozone, it really began to look more solid. In Slovakia, moderation and restraint are felt. The country is not a star, rather positioning itself as a cozy, quiet heaven of Eastern Europe. Since joining the EU, Slovakia has become a favorite destination for people from the former Soviet camp to open companies with a nominal owner. Now, the Slovak government has given the last chance to the real beneficiaries to come out of the shadows. In almost every country, the ultimate beneficiary is the founder of the company. But due to the common practice of not real owners, in Slovakia, these concepts are divided. The companies were given one last chance to painlessly disclose the real owners. While the official procedures were going on, I decided to find out what opportunities for opening a warehouse in Košice we have. Due to excessive bureaucracy in the European Union, inspections by firefighters or engineers, the cost of renting an entire warehouse is quite high. Therefore, the service of outsourcing warehouse space has become widespread. But my potential Slovak partner decided that he was the smartest. 2,000 euros is the minimum amount, and it doesn't matter that you will occupy 20 or 100 meters. One way or another, someone has to keep an eye on it, and there should be a minimum amount, even if there is a truck, 2 or 5. We cannot do this without a fixed amount. No, a fixed amount, no. Once again, if you want a warehouse tomorrow, 1,600 euros for a couple of months. You don't understand, for this amount you will receive a full service, absolutely everything. We will have a lot of papers, a lot of work. There must be a person who will put in the program how much has come, how much has gone. That is all, so it doesn't matter whether we have 1 truck, 2 or 5. 2,000 euros, I am able to find 3 warehouses here. That is all, but I ask that a gentleman not to test my patience. A gentleman indeed decided not to test the patience and to move on. In the end, I decided to ask an opinion of an entrepreneur from Košice about Europe. Radomir, what about the European Union? Not for good. Why not for good? If you want to eat French milk and pour your own into the Volga, you must have Volga or another river there. Then join Europe. Instead of doing in Ukraine, you will eat what is made in Poland. How to properly talk to them? He certainly did not like me at first sight. It seemed so to me. They are very punctual, how to say, in everything. Did my delay seriously affect him? Not that, in the sense that everything must be in details, meticulous. They want to know everything for sure, in this regard. They need to know you want this or that, and you give so much money. That is all. There is no like talks or friendly agreements. They are very, like this. Everything must be written in the contract. For a long time, Slovakia was a favorite place for customs clearance of goods from third countries, especially from the former Soviet Union and China. Real economic magic took place here, especially in such border areas as Dunajska Streda, where we go to meet a friend to remember the good old days. We don't know anything. We have invented a scheme, practically legal. We didn't violate the existing laws of the countries. The principle is in non-violating the rules and following the existing rules. Let us say we've imported potatoes to Slovakia, not important potatoes. The official price of potatoes is, let's say, 20 euro cents. Yes. Here it arrived at 1 euro 20 cents. Did you pay VAT here upon customs clearance? No. The goods arrived in customs warehouse in the regime of keeping. Okay, so it arrived for the benefit of Company A. What next? Company A sold to B? Yes. In the framework of customs warehouse, Company A resold it to Company B, without VAT, but with another price. Where did VAT come from? Nowhere. The VAT was left in Ukraine. And in Ukraine you ask for VAT reimbursement. Yes, Ukraine overvalued the good, from 20 euro cents to euro 20. So you sold potatoes for the value of kiwi. Yes, potatoes were sold for the price of a vehicle. Something like this. A big VAT was created upon purchase in Ukraine, which was a subject for a reimbursement, because there was a real transaction. But the prices are free to choose. I choose the price I want to sell. If I want to sell at euro 20, I sell at euro 20. I want to sell at 250, I sell at 250. It is important someone is buying from me, full stop. Well, according to the rules of keeping the goods in customs warehouse, the goods can change the owner unlimited number of times. Why? It's a law. According to the rules of customs warehouse, there were no limits for change of owner. Why did you need many? Well, because you sell and you decrease the value till it reaches real one or completely for no value. So you decreased. What for? Because anyway, since the good arrived from third country, it stays in the customs warehouse, it has to be customs cleared in certain way in the European Union. By Company A or Company B, it doesn't matter by whom. Or it can be replaced outside the European Union, meaning re-exported further. In customs cleared not for the value 120 euro, but for one. So the companies traded between themselves till the price reached the acceptable level for which it can be customs cleared. We kept the goods in the customs warehouse, we changed the owners, and when the right time comes, we had either to customs clear or to deliver to third country. We delivered to third country. And that's all, we delivered it out of Slovakia. It wasn't customs cleared here. So the potatoes in the end arrived in Africa. Yes, to Kenya, in Africa, whatever. It flew somewhere beyond the seas. There wasn't any violation according to the rules of Slovakia. The goods arrived in customs zone. So it should be A, be customs cleared and sold on the territory of the EU, B, you delivered to third country, we delivered to third country. So the Slovak budget didn't lose, didn't gain. No, it received customs procedures, something. But Ukrainian budget compensated the paid VAT. Of course, there was a real export of the good. I, as a real owner of the company, naturally declared that I did an export. The export has been done, yes. There were so-called Group 200 and after Group 250 special teams created to watch that an export wasn't artificial. They arrived, but the potatoes exist. Is it possible to execute it today? No. Why not? First, the rules have changed. Which ones? If we talk particularly about Slovakia, the decrease of the invoice value, let's be honest, all this operation is about the decreasing of the customs invoice value. When we sell inside the customs warehouse, we decrease the value. There used to be such concept as customs zone, free zone or something like this, where you could execute this type of operations unlimited number of times. There wasn't any price regulation. Nobody paid attention. It was according to the rules. Later, they get smarter. The government started to pay attention to operations of such type. When they started to research this, 100% after joining the European Union, I don't remember precisely the year. So they said you can't sell for the price lower than you bought. Such conditions were created that you can't. The price indicatives were implemented. For example, if you would like to have a free customs zone here in Slovakia, where you're able to make different operations, this is a permit at the level of the Parliament of Slovakia, Ministry of Slovakia. So the customs warehouse has lost its value. You're able to have customs warehouse, but customs warehouse and free economic zone are different things. These things are not controlled. For instance, I would like to make export from Europe to wherever, to third country. I bring the product to free zone, and this is considered to be export. That's all. The product has arrived in this zone and didn't leave this country. It is physically in Slovakia, in Czech Republic, wherever. But if it stays in this zone, it's considered to be exported. You're able to make the whole bunch of operations there. So am I right that you can export the goods to Africa, but they don't leave Slovakia? It has to leave at some point, but according to documents, in the moment when it arrives in customs zone, the export considered to be closed. Yes, in customs warehouse you're not able to do so. Customs warehouse is needed otherwise for imported goods now, not for export. Export is open now. You make export, you issue customs declaration, and the goods can go without control under customs authorities. The responsibility here is transferred for a sender. If you need to have confirmation that you've executed an export, so you have to really physically deliver the goods, close this declaration in the customs system. And import was more attractive. And imported goods, when they arrive in the European Union, you have options what to do with it. You can either directly customs clear by paying VAT and duties, or to put on a temporary saving. Unload for temporary saving in the customs warehouse or warehouse of temporary saving. These are two types of warehouses. And then you think what to do with it. But according to actual laws, if I want to sell for the lower value, yes, if potatoes got rotten, yeah, you have to prove it. And it is quite complicated. But if I want to sell in the framework of customs warehouse to another company and devaluate the goods, the local customs will not allow me to do this. They do not decide this, they push this information further. So the collectivist society decided that you're not able to sell rotten potatoes for the lower value. You can, but you have to prove it. This is a whole procedure, and now they do it this way. If they see the lowering of invoice according to their internal instructions, they have to deliver the case to higher authorities, and they decide there what it is, if it can be done or not, and they make a decision. Now nobody does these things for a long time. For example, considering the Chinese goods. Chinese import, which overflowed Europe. For certain goods, textile, shoes, toys, bags, this type of products, you are able to import a container for $10,000. But they will make these documents, they will check, deliver them to assessing office in Bratislava, and they will tell you that these goods cost $120,000. How do they know what exactly is in the container? Are they going to check the pants? They do this as well. Wait, they receive the documents. You got products indicated in there, the packaging list. For assessment of the product, it is enough the packaging list. They just take a look and say that this t-shirt cannot cost 20 cents, but must cost $5. Chinese goods, 10,000 pairs of something. Well, they will evaluate according to Middle European price. That is why they stopped customs clearance of Chinese products of such type. Clothes, shoes, they didn't prohibit it, but there is no sense anymore. They imported for $10,000–$20,000 a container. Government evaluated this container for 120,000 euros and calculated payments on this amount. This became unprofitable. Someone in Bratislava evaluated, yes, in Bratislava. This is the whole story, an import of Chinese goods into the European Union. Because companies which do this, I mean customs clearance, not every such company is a recipient of the goods, they simply make customs clearance. They deal with official bodies in a way so to avoid these things, so that container is not unloaded or every t-shirt to be counted. Is it a kind of non-official payments? Difficult to tell, can be both official and non. Those companies which import into European Union, this is the whole separate business. They are looking for countries where conditions are softer. During the first wave of Chinese goods inflow, almost everyone did the custom clearance in Italy. I don't know why, perhaps the conditions were good, they didn't make a lot of checks, they've accepted these containers for $10,000, everything went okay. They customs cleared in Italy and after delivered to whole Europe. Then Italians started to slowly finishing this. I don't know the details why they started the checks of these companies. So these companies started to migrate further in search of better conditions. At some point, several years ago, they settled down here in Slovakia. That was a boom. Huge amount of Chinese products arrived here in Slovakia. And after to whole Europe. And they customs cleared and delivered everywhere in Europe. I don't know where exactly, but the amounts were big. In the first wave, it was also tolerated by the government. That's fine, you can customs clear, it was profitable, because in the end you pay something to the government, VAT or customs duties, because almost all Chinese goods are under duties. So countries of the European Union took turns to give up in front of China with better conditions. Where does the benefit come from? The paid duties are divided by the European Union. 75% goes there, to Brussels, and a host country where the goods were customs cleared keeps the rest 25%. There is a direct benefit for the country due to this. And there is another thing, it also comes from practice. If the goods are problematic, like something was found during the physical control or some documents are missing, there has never been a feedback from them. You may send anything there, any inquiries. For instance, sometimes the customs wanted to get a confirmation of payment for the goods, that you really have paid this $10,000. Customs asked Chinese company, did you really receive the money? Send us a confirmation. There has never been a reply. Also about certificates, nothing. They could fake any certificate, they even didn't do this, they didn't reply. Does Slovakia remain to be a bridgehead of Chinese goods to Europe? No. It used to be several years ago. There was another option, they brought container and the amount of the goods wasn't calculated correctly. So, in a sense, this is smuggling. So, when the physical control took place, they've counted brassiers, yes, they had to stand and calculate, to decompose it. This is another reason it became non-profitable for those who made customs clearance. Because that container stood for several days at customs. It has to be unloaded, opened, the goods should be calculated. If there is a problem, it's a problem, and container remains in the port, and you have to solve it. You pay for that. You pay extra after 6 hours after arrival at customs. It became unprofitable. Nobody wants to unload for 3 days. It was another step. They've increased the price of invoice. They started to evaluate the goods. Where did China go now? They've been somewhere else. They tried in Hungary. As far as I know, Hungarians are invented a kind of cunning. Also, they had Chinese for several years, there were good conditions, and now they've invented, a friend of mine has told me, if you want to bring Chinese goods and customs clear it, you have to deposit in advance 50 million forints to the government just as a security, just in case something, you know. Per parcel, for one import. He told me it's unreal for them. So they've used again administrative tools, yes, and these Hungarian companies started to run around Europe to look where else they can work. They called here, but here the conditions are the same, and this wave disappeared. Where the customs clear now, who knows? While Hungarian companies run around Europe in search of better customs, the spirit of Brezhnev has returned to Hungary. Therefore, I considered it necessary to meet with a professor who once taught me with the lessons of economic freedom in a place that fell victim to collectivists. Our home university was closed, the Hungarian Knight of Freedom was left alone, but I had to hear him.